From ancient celebrities to modern-day geography, there's a conspiracy theory for everything. Here's our list of the top conspiracies of history you may never have heard about. Stay tuned to hear what happened to modern-day, dinosaurs? Number 8. Bohemian Grove. The Illuminati, the Freemasons, and the Knights Templar, the mere mention of these ancient and modern shadowy organizations can spark slanted glances and thoughts of secret doings in the minds of your modern conspiracy-savvy individuals. However, for the most part, no one has been able to prove that there's any ruling elite that actively works together to decide the fate, direction, and future of the world. The Illuminati may have ceased to exist years ago, having been nothing but a small group that really left little impact on history. The Freemasons may just be your everyday fraternity, and the Knights Templar could have been nothing more than a banking organization that crossed the wrong king back in the day. But that doesn't mean there's nothing to the idea that the leaders of the world might be discussing our fates in private. As it turns out, there's a real place, known as the Bohemian Grove, where the rich and powerful actively meet and relax once a year. Everyone from US presidents to leaders of economic industry have attended meetings at the Bohemian Grove. Both Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan are among past attendees. Oh, and both of these men visited the Bohemian before becoming American presidents. There's also the fact that the atomic bombs may have first been conceived at the Grove. What do you think is going on there? Is the secret, invitation-only gathering spot the real seat of world power? Or is it just a decoy for an even more secretive gathering place? Tell us what you think down in the comments below. Number 7. The Beatles were a lie. The Beatles. Some people love their musical prowess while others despise their distinct musical flair. One thing is for sure though, they were very, very famous back in their day. One of the most iconic and highest-earning bands in history, the Beatles have held the hearts of Americans in the palm of their hands. But what if we told you that the Beatles may not have ever existed? There are those that suggest that the Beatles were never a set number of men. These theories suggest that the hairstyles, eyebrows, and facial features of the Beatles band members changed subtly over the years. The conclusion that the conspiracy theorists have drawn from this is that the Beatles were in fact a lie, and that all of the band members were actually multiple, nearly identical, makeup and costume-wearing actors. Entire websites are dedicated to this theory, and they've attempted to closely document the Beatles' careers and to find any discrepancies that may have popped up in their appearances during that time. Number 6. Flat Earth Theory. For the longest time, the humans of the ancient world believed that the Earth was flat. There was rumored to be an edge of the world in some myths and legends. In fact, it's a place where monsters and demons lived at the edge of reality and where no man would want to dare sell or tread. When the scientists and the thinkers of the past began to propose the idea that the Earth might be anything but flat, there was actually quite a lot of heckling from the mainstream community. For the longest time, the academia of the world refused to believe that the Earth was spherical. Still, even after most everyone began to accept this belief and stopped laughing at those who brought forth the idea, there were still those who refused to break away from their ancient and outdated views. The Flat Earth Society was officially organized in the early years of the 1800s. Samuel Burley, an English inventor, was the man who founded this society. Nowadays, this man is seen as the historic leader for the society, which still exists to this day. No matter what mainstream science presents or what arguments modern-day experts bring forward, the Flat Earth Society continues to argue away any and all ideas that contradict what they're so dead set on believing, that the Earth is indeed very, very flat. Some things are just too hard to believe, I guess. Number 5. We live in the Matrix. Science is a tool like no other. It leads us to think, to learn, to test, to explore, and to grow as a species. It gives us tools of life and harmony and creates weapons of unspeakable horror. It has advanced us and divided us, but even through all of that, it has been a tool that has sat firmly in our grasp that has allowed us to surpass all other known living things. Ever since the great thinkers of our race have been allowed to meet and discuss, our people have been searching for knowledge that will reveal the identity of the universe, and for some glimpse at the truth of the fabric of our reality. A look at the divine, if you will. We've discovered the workings of time, the laws of space, the dimensions of matter, and things beyond our sight that we haven't even yet quantified. And now, our top researchers are suggesting something that may seem as absurd as the atomic bomb may have once sounded to those scientists in the past that first began to realize the possibility of such a weapon. The universe is orderly. Mathematics are so deeply ingrained within it that the field has become one of the leading tools that we have used to explore our reality. But what if the universe doesn't simply operate with mathematical laws? What if the universe is actually math itself? What if the very fabric is numbers? Ones and zeros maybe? Binary code even? This is what some leading researchers in the world are now suggesting. And the thing is, it could be true. We could be living within a living, breathing version of the Matrix, a simulation and a false reality. It's at least possible, and some of our world's leading minds are beginning to believe just this theory. I guess all I could hope for is that I could learn things as fast as Neo. Number 4. Roswell Has Aliens. The idea of Area 51 being a secret military installation that is harboring alien technology and even extraterrestrial bodies is a conspiracy theory that has firmly embedded itself into a modern hive mind. But what if it were true? Despite all of the memes and the jokes and the puns about there being proof of aliens being hidden from us, what if the jokes were actually right? The fact is, something did crash in the desert of Roswell, New Mexico, around the time of July 7, 1947. Furthermore, it is also factual that the United States military at first declared that they had recovered an alien saucer at Roswell, a story that was quickly changed by officials that ranked higher than those who had released the first reports. The United States government has continued to change its story after the fact. In 1989, a mortician by the name of Glenn Dennis reported that he had in fact been involved in the autopsies of various aliens. Further reports documented the intimidation of anyone who claimed to be a witness to alien sightings, having only further confirmed the idea that Roswell might be something more than the military is making it out to be. Don't forget to check out our video that's dedicated to alien and UFO sightings. Number 3. Shakespeare wasn't Shakespeare. The name Shakespeare has been pounded into the minds of almost every student in the first world since grade school. The famous poet and scriptwriter has been lauded by the literary community for decades for his extremely prolific writings. He has been adored by many and acclaimed by a great number of experts. Shakespeare's techniques and writing tricks have been firmly ingrained in the way that we write modern television, movies, and even books and novels. He's even credited with helping to translate the King James Version of the Holy Bible. However, some experts are beginning to suspect that some of the works that have been attributed to Shakespeare's name might not have actually come from under his quill. The fact is, very little is actually known about Shakespeare's life. It is a known fact that some of his writings are missing. However, it could very well be possible that his confirmed works might have actually come from other writers and instead been mistakenly attached to his name. I wonder what my English teacher has to say about that. Number 2. The Earth is hollow. Dinosaurs. What if they're still alive? But where? Well, deep inside the Earth, of course. Oh, and the escaped Nazis and lost Viking colonies of Greenland might be hanging out down there too. Some people believe that the Earth is entirely hollow. They also believe that the only way one can enter this hollow locality is by entering through openings at the North and South poles. Oh, and did we mention that these hollow Earth theorists claim this theory also explains away aliens? Supposedly, the alien sightings that pop up are actually the humans of the Earth catching glimpses of the residents of the inner planet just visiting their topside cousins. Who knew? Number 1. MKULTRA. Mind control. What if we told you that the United States government, at one time and maybe even still today, wanted to control your mind? Well, in our era of hyperparanoia, this might not sound like too much of a surprise. Back in the 1950s, Project MKUltra was a secretive program that was being handled by the Office of Scientific Intelligence, an obsolete American organization that existed in the past. The program tested on American citizens and used conditioning techniques and chemical interrogation, along with the drugging of subjects to attempt to uncover gaps in the human mind that the US government might be able to exploit in order to pull information out of suspects and persons of interest more easily. The program became public knowledge in 1975 and began to be investigated afterwards following public outrage. However, almost all of these investigative attempts were halted when the director of the CIA ordered all of the files related to MKUltra to be destroyed during the years following the program's public discovery. Still, the program did manage to run for a great number of years before being discovered, just shy of 30 years in total. So, who's to say that the United States administrations don't now have ways of controlling our minds that we just don't know about? What if they're being careful enough not to get caught and are only using these mind-controlling techniques when it's absolutely necessary? Is it possible? It just might be true. Are people just too paranoid? Or do you think there might be a little truth to some of these theories? If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Until next time.